Heather Dean Lear's story reads like a Hollywood screenplay. Fame, chaos, collapse, and resurrection. In 2018, she was arrested twice in 4 months, once for attacking a deputy and again for kicking a paramedic before being placed under psychiatric hold. Her daughter left town just to escape the storm. Yet by 2025, Heather stood before thousands, radiant and unflinching, launching a podcast where no topic was off limits. She spoke with raw honesty about menopause, cosmetic missteps, and more than 20 failed attempts to get sober. But what truly captivated the public were the revelations she was finally ready to make. The truth about her marriages, what really happened backstage, and the box of secrets she'd guarded for 40 years. Born in September 1961 in Westwood, Los Angeles, Heather arrived as America basked in the hopeful glow of the Kennedy era. Her father, Bill Lear, embodied the post-war ideal, a Marine-turned-academic who spent decades shaping UCLA's campus life. His discipline and structure gave Heather a foundation that would one day collide with the chaos of celebrity. Her mother, Diane, was a rarity in the male-dominated world of 1960s television, working behind the camera as a production executive. Heather grew up listening not to bedtime stories, but to talk of pilot seasons and casting calls. She was the youngest of 4, a mix of Native American, African, and European ancestry from North Carolina's Lumbee roots, and even distantly related to Tiffany Trump, if you trace the family lines far enough. She attended UCLA's elite laboratory schools, excelling in debate and student government, a poised and persuasive young woman who learned early how to command a room. But money was always tight. Despite her father's professional standing, the family wasn't wealthy, and Heather took on responsibilities beyond her years. She enrolled at UCLA in 1979 as a psychology major, following in her father's footsteps, but a string of sorority rejections shook her confidence. Instead of chasing social acceptance, she turned to modeling to pay her tuition. It paid well, $500 a shoot, enough to lure her away from the classroom. Within a year, she was juggling modeling and acting auditions, until school quietly fell away. Her early Hollywood attempts were awkward. She famously auditioned for Three's Company, stuffing tissues under her arms to prevent sweat stains, only for one to fall out mid-scene. She didn't get the role, but humiliation didn't stop her. In 1981, a failed sci-fi audition alongside a young Tom Cruise caught a producer's eye. That same year, Aaron Spelling took a chance on the unknown blonde and cast her in Dynasty as Sammy Jo Dean. She spilled coffee on a $3,000 costume her first day, forgot lines and needed 17 takes, but Spelling stuck with her. The gamble paid off. By the time Dynasty aired Sammy Jo's fake drowning in November 1982, over 28 million viewers tuned in. The stunt alone generated millions in advertising and cemented her as television gold. Behind the glamour, though, there was turbulence. Heather clashed with co-star Joan Collins during a seduction scene that erupted into a shouting match and delayed production. The tension translated to electric on-screen chemistry. By 1984, Heather wanted more edge, pushing for racier scenes that network executives refused. When the show introduced a same-sex storyline between her character and Stephen Carrington in 1985, protests erupted. She received thousands of hate letters and death threats. Yet the controversy only expanded her fame abroad. By then, she was making $75,000 per week, but her life was spinning as wildly as her characters. In 1986, Heather married Tommy Lee, and their marriage became tabloid fodder, wild parties, drunken fights, and paparazzi flashbulbs. By 1989, she owned a mansion on Mulholland Drive, but was losing control. Her next project, Going Places, failed miserably, and the network canceled it after 1 season. Then came redemption. In 1993, she joined Melrose Place, transforming the struggling series into a sensation. As Amanda Woodward, she was sharp, manipulative, and mesmerizing. The role earned her Golden Globe nominations and made her one of the highest-paid actresses on television. Her chemistry with the cast, particularly in storylines involving power, seduction, and even same-sex tension, defined 1990s television. By the show's end in 1999, Heather had become a symbol of smart, unapologetic ambition. That same year, she moved to Spin City, where her entrance as Caitlin Moore revived the series. Her scenes with Michael J. Fox crackled with intelligence and wit, later evolving into playful chaos opposite Charlie Sheen. Her paycheck, up to $175,000 per episode, made her one of TV's top earners. She navigated the delicate shift as Fox's Parkinson's symptoms became public, balancing professionalism with compassion. She would later admit she needed therapy during those years, struggling under the pressure of keeping the show's energy alive while watching a friend fight something unstoppable. When Spin City ended in 2002 after 132 episodes, it marked not just the end of a sitcom, but the close of a television era she helped define. The 2000s brought instability. A failed pilot, Women of a Certain Age, never made it to air. Reality TV had overtaken scripted drama, and Heather's stardom began to fade. In 2009, she starred in Flying By, an indie film about addiction and fractured marriage, a role that mirrored her own life so closely it felt confessional. Critics saw through the film's flaws to praise her raw honesty. Her later television work on Hot in Cleveland and Franklin and Bash reminded audiences that she still had that rare mix of humor and steel. Even small guest roles like her self-parody on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23 showed she was willing to laugh at herself. Her personal life, however, remained as stormy as ever. Her 1986 marriage to Tommy Lee collapsed under the weight of infidelity and chaos. Her second marriage to Richie Sambora in 1994 seemed steadier. They had a daughter, Ava, in 1997 after a difficult labor. But by 2006, their marriage ended amid rumors of betrayal. Heather poured herself into motherhood, but addiction and depression were constant shadows. She reunited with her high school sweetheart, Chris Heiser, in 2020, and for 5 years it looked like stability at last. But by early 2025, the engagement was quietly over. This time she didn't spiral. She chose herself. The turnaround began after her 2018 breakdown. Her arrests and psychiatric hold made headlines, but they also marked a turning point. After decades of addiction, Heather entered serious treatment. In 2019, she began outpatient therapy and by April 2020, celebrated 1 year sober. Her daughter surprised her with cupcakes spelling out, "I love you, Mama." It was the start of reconciliation, both with her family and herself. Slowly, she stepped back into the public eye. Not as a scandal magnet, but as a survivor with something to say. In 2024, nostalgia began to circle back. A podcast called Still the Place, hosted by her Melrose Place co-stars, reignited interest in her legacy. Even when she wasn't present, her name dominated the conversation. Then, in 2025, she reclaimed her own narrative. Appearing at Fan Expo Toronto with Michael J. Fox and William Shatner, she charmed audiences with behind-the-scenes confessions, including a once-unaired kiss scene with Fox. The moment went viral,